Woodworking is a process that involves working with wood to create different objects or furnitures. There are many different ways to work with wood, and each has its own benefits and drawbacks. Some of the most popular methods include carving, whittling, turning, and sawing. It has been practiced for centuries, and the techniques used have evolved over time. Today, there are many different ways to approach woodworking, and it can be a very rewarding hobby or profession. There are several things to consider when starting out in woodworking. First is what type of wood you want to work with. Different kinds of wood have different properties, so you need to choose one that will suit your project. Second consideration is the tools you will need. Woodworking requires a variety of tools, from saws to hammers to chisels, so make sure you have everything you need before starting out. Third consideration is the design of your project. You need to have a plan before starting out, or you may end up wasting time and materials. There are many sources of inspiration online or in books, so find something that suits your skill level and interests. You can download a free ebook from the link in the description. Finally, practice makes perfect. Start with simple projects and work your way up as you gain experience. With enough patience and practice, you can become a master craftsman in woodworking. There are a variety of tools for woodworking that are available on the market. Some of the most popular ones include saws, hammers, screwdrivers, chisels, and drill bits. Each tool has its own unique purpose and can help you complete different aspects of your project. Saws are one of the most essential tools for woodworking. Hand saws come in a variety of shapes and sizes, each suited for specific tasks. The rip saw is designed for cutting along the grain of the wood, while the crosscut saw is designed for cutting across the grain. There are also specialty saws, such as fret saws and coping saws, which are specifically designed for intricate cuts. There are a variety of saws available, including hand saws, power saws, jig saws, and scroll saws. Each type of saw has its own advantages and disadvantages. For example, hand saws are typically slower but more accurate than power saws. Jig saws are great for making curved cuts, while scroll saws can make intricate designs. Hammers are another essential tool for woodworking. Hammers come in a variety of shapes and sizes, each with their own specific purpose. For example, ball-peen hammers are used for striking metal objects, while claw hammers can be used for both pounding nails into wood or removing them. Screwdrivers are also an important tool for woodworking. There are both manual and electric screwdrivers available on the market. Electric screwdrivers require less effort to use and can be helpful when working with large projects. Chisels are a type of tool that is used for shaping and cutting wood. There are many different types of chisels, each with its own unique purpose. The most common type of chisel is the standard chisel, which is typically used for general-purpose work. Other types of chisels include mortise chisels, which are specifically designed for cutting mortise's fishtail chisels, which have a tapered blade that is ideal for delicate work, and firmer chisels, which are thicker and more durable than other types of chisels. You can find all these tools in the description below. A sharp woodworking tool is a pleasure to use. It makes the job at hand easier and more precise. There are many ways to sharpen a tool, but the most common is with a honing guide and honing stone. Sharpening a tool is an essential step in ensuring that the tool functions properly and lasts longer. There are several ways to sharpen a woodworking tool, but the most common is to use a sharpening stone. A sharpening stone is a flat piece of material, usually made from sandstone or Arkansas novaculite, that is used to sharpen blades. The stone is lubricated with water or oil, and the blade is then drawn over the surface of the stone to sharpen it. There are two main types of sharpening stones: fine grit and coarse grit. Fine grit stones are used for sharpening blades that have already been damaged or dulled, while coarse grit stones are used for shaping blades and removing large amounts of metal. The first step in sharpening a tool is to find the angle you need to sharpen it at. This can be done with a simple protractor or by using something called the scary sharp method. Once you have found the angle, you can set your honing guide to that angle and start sharpening. The best way to learn how to sharpen a tool is by practice. Start with a basic honing guide and honing stone, then move on to more complex tools as you gain experience. With a little practice, you'll be able to keep all of your tools razor sharp and ready for action. The best way to use a sharpening stone is to hold it at an angle between 20 and 30 degrees, relative to the blade being sharpened. The height of the blade should also be kept consistent with the height of the stone. Here are many different types of woodworking projects you can attempt depending on your skill level. For beginners, try making a simple wooden box or birdhouse. More experienced woodworkers might want to try their hand at building a piece of furniture or cabinets. No matter what you choose to make, always research the project beforehand and make sure you have all the necessary tools and supplies before getting started. Woodworking is a great hobby for people of all ages and can be enjoyed by both men and women. It allows you to create beautiful pieces of furniture or art that can be displayed in your home or given as gifts to friends and family members, from small objects like picture frames to large pieces of furniture. In order to get the most out of wood, it is important to understand its characteristics and how to work with it. With a little bit of practice, you too can become a skilled woodworker. There are many different types of wood, each with its own set of strengths and weaknesses. Some woods are better suited for certain applications than others. For example, hardwoods like oak are good for making furniture because they are strong and durable, while softwoods like pine are better for making things like cabinetry because they are lightweight and easy to work with. When working with wood, it is important to take into account the type of saw you are using. A crosscut saw will cut across the grain of the wood, while a rip saw will cut along the grain. This is important to keep in mind when deciding which type of cut you need to make. It is also important to understand the characteristics of different types of wood and how to use them effectively. With a little bit of knowledge and experience, you can create beautiful pieces that will last for years. There are many different ways to design a project for woodworking. Some people prefer to sketch out their ideas on paper, while others may choose to use a computer program. No matter which method you choose, it's important to think about the finished product and how you want it to look. When designing a project for woodworking, there are several factors to consider. The first step is to determine the size and shape of the finished product. You'll also need to decide on the type of wood you want to use, as well as any other materials or hardware that may be needed. Different woods have different properties, so you need to select the one that will best meet your needs. For example, if you're making a piece of furniture, you'll need a hardwood like oak or maple that can stand up to wear and tear. If you're making a small ornament or jewelry box, however, softer woods like pine or cedar would be more appropriate. Once you have a general idea of what you want to make, sketch out a rough diagram of the project. This will help you visualize how everything will fit together and identify any potential problems early on. You'll also need to decide on the details such as the number of joints and how they will be shaped. If this is your first time working with wood, it may be helpful to find an online tutorial or book that outlines the basics of woodworking construction. Next, begin piecing together your project by creating a list of all of the individual parts that will be needed. Be sure to include measurements for each piece, as well as any special instructions or notes. There are many conclusions that can be drawn about woodworking. A few of these include the satisfaction that comes with crafting something with one's own hands, the ability to create something beautiful and unique, the feeling of accomplishment when a project is completed, the pleasure of using a handmade item. All of these reasons are why woodworking is such a popular hobby and why it has been around for centuries. You can download a free ebook from the link in the description. If you liked the video, you can show it by pressing the like button and subscribe. See you in another video.